In this morning's Business Insight, it's been nearly a year since our region came together to focus on an all-out effort to reduce childhood poverty. Led by retired Kroger executive Lynn Marmer, the goal was to engage diverse groups, including advocacy, business, civic, philanthropic, religious, and social service sector leaders, as well as concerned citizens. The effort is being managed by the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. Joining us with an update is Ross Meyer, Vice President of Community Impact for the United Way. He is with Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio. Ross and Jamie.
Thanks, Peg. Ross, thanks for being here today.
Good morning, Jamie.
Can you give our audience just a brief recap on why there's a need for this collaborative?
Sure. Well, as you know, there's such great momentum in our city. By many accounts, our city is on the rise. Unemployment is at record low levels since the recession. Educational attainment continues to improve. Such renewed optimism and energy in our downtown, yet so many, unfortunately, are not sharing in that growth and prosperity. And our community came together just over a year ago and said, enough. Cincinnati hit, unfortunately, one of the highest in the country for child poverty, and that caught everybody's attention and said, we have to grapple with this reality that so many kids are growing up in a family that is struggling to make ends meet, and we all hurt. Our community hurts, and we're not going to be the great city that we want to be unless we can change that trajectory.
Yeah. So you said they've been at it for about a year. What have we learned over the past year through the collaborative?
We've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot from a lot of people throughout our community. Our approach has been to listen deeply, especially to families themselves, to certainly learn from research as much as possible, but really engage a whole cross-section of our community to deeply understand what are the key issues that are driving us to the situation where we have, again, more than half of our kids growing up in poverty and many more in families that struggle to make ends meet. We've learned a couple of key insights. One, we've really learned how widespread this issue really is. And you know that the official poverty rate is really inadequate to capture what it takes for a family to make ends meet. For a family of four, official poverty is around $24,000 for a family of four. So by official measures, $25,000, you're out of poverty, right? Yeah. Woefully inadequate. And we often look at double that, closer to what it takes for a family to just meet the basics, right. About 200% of poverty, $48,000 for a family of four, just to make basic ends meet. Housing, utilities, food, not save for college, not handle a car breaking down, but just meet basic needs. And by that account, the picture is really dire. Across our entire tri-state region, not just the city, entire tri-state region, about 1 in 3 kids are in a family that is struggling to make ends meet. For Hamilton County, that number's 50%. For the city, 70%.
Wow.
70%. So the reality that it is the common experience for a child born in our community to be in a family that really struggles to meet the basics is really, I think, causing a lot of people to ask some hard questions about how do we change this reality. Okay. We've also learned a lot about our families. The majority of these families are working. Right, I mentioned that our unemployment rate is back to pre-recession levels, right, 4 or 5%. More and more people are working. Unemployment has gone down, of course, since a high during the recession, but poverty has barely budged. So people are working, but they're just not making enough.
To where they need to
they're not getting by, right? They're in unstable jobs, stitching together a lot of part-time jobs, and not earning the wages that they need to really be able to be self-sufficient. So how to help people get beyond an entry-level job is really a big challenge that our community is facing. A last that I'll point out is that this issue of poverty is really inseparable from issues of race. The rate of poverty for African Americans in our community is triple that than for whites in our community, and that really goes to some deep inequities that we have to deal with and that we really have to wrestle with as a community.
Yeah. Well, going forward, what can we plan to see happen?
Sure. So we've really, after all of these conversations, all the planning, all the work, engaging, come up with what I'd simplify as a two-part strategy. In the near term, we've set a really audacious goal to help 5,000 families with 10,000 kids move towards self-sufficiency in 5 years in Hamilton County. It would be a dramatic reduction if we were able to achieve it.
By 2021.
By 2021.
Okay.
Dramatic reduction if we were able to achieve it in child poverty in Hamilton County. And to do that, we're going to work directly with families. We're going to launch an initiative we're calling One-to-One that's really going to leverage our existing system of providers and supporters to work and coach families directly to help them achieve their goals, reduce barriers, access services that already exist, but stick with them long term, over multiple years, to help make progress towards self-sufficiency.
Well, I hope we can get you back on here to talk in more detail about this as the process goes on, because it is such a serious issue.
Yes.
And we thank you, and we thank the United Way for being such a strong leader in this process.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, Ross, thanks.